Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going down, brother?
Yeah. I love those last two episodes. I think some great insights in there.
Yeah, for those that don't know, guys, we aim when Tim and I get together because our schedules are so different. We try to get 2 to 3 podcasts done in one sitting, so to speak. It just makes it more comfortable. So I hope that doesn't ruin your illusion, but we do 3 or so. And as I said in the previous one, it's been great to have you back, buddy.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I love it. And I love everybody tuning in. I appreciate you guys and I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. Um, so as you know, over the past couple of weeks, there's been quite a lot of chaos in my life, at least compared to what I'm used to. Although to be fair, one of them was a bereavement in the family. So I think, for most people, that's kind of chaotic. At least for me, it was a real surprise. It wasn't expected. My uncle was ill, so we were aware of his illness. However, he was suddenly rushed into hospital. And this was my dad's eldest brother, the person that he says the guy that he's the closest or was the closest with, more so than his parents. I think he probably classed this guy as a father figure more than his own father. And anyway, he passed away on the Friday, and on the Saturday, I spoke with my dad, and he was getting back from being down in the south of the UK, down in Reading. That's where he'd rushed down to go and be with my uncle. And then on the Sunday that I spoke again the Sunday morning. I checked in with him a lot, several times a day. And on the Sunday, so what are you doing today, Dad? How are you feeling? Oh yeah, I'm okay. As you know, we're getting the extension done. So, today we're going to go look at the kitchens and going to look at furniture. And obviously, I'm thinking, okay, interesting. Is this just a distraction? Like, what's going on? It doesn't seem like the right time to be doing this. Obviously, I didn't say that to him. Anyway, about 7 p.m. that evening, I got a text from my mum. And I've not heard from them all day, actually. And like I said, over this period, I was used to talking to them a few times a day. But I got a text about 7 p.m. And she said, Tim, can you call your dad? He's just broken down. Obviously, immediately, I'm like, broken down? It's like such a big word, right? What does that mean? Does that, it's a big thing for her to say. So anyway, I call him, doesn't answer. Call him again, no answer. Calls me back, and he's just in bits, tears running down his eye. Well, he's trying to wipe them away. He's doing his best not to really let on what's going on for him. I've never seen my dad cry. I've never seen him like this. And I think he's a very proud man, doesn't like to show quote unquote weakness. He's a very old school guy where that comes in. Emotion can be weakness. And I just sat with him in his pain. I didn't try and solve it. I didn't do what a lot of other people were saying to him, like, oh, it'll be okay. It's okay. Don't cry. I just sat with him in his pain, looking at him in the eye, making certain facial expressions to let him know that I felt his pain, saying a few things like, this must be so tough for you, Dad. Just a few things to allow him just to be seen, right? And a few days later, it got me thinking about a lot of the guys in the movement when and something I used to do in the past as well, the tendency in a situation when you see somebody in pain, be it your wife when she comes to you with a problem or she's been emotional about something, be it maybe your kids, be it staff, be it family, be it whoever, oftentimes a tendency can be to try and solve the problem, right? Because you don't want to see him in pain. So you want to, hey, it's okay. Hey, whatever, take the mind off it. But that doesn't serve them, doesn't serve you. And I think part of it as well for a lot of people is they're uncomfortable sitting in other people's pain because they don't know how to sit in their own. And it's definitely used to be true for me. And it was only when I learned how to sit with my own discomfort and sit in my own pain was I then able to be comfortable sitting with others in theirs. And I think for a lot of people, and this used to be me too, instead of sitting in my pain, I used to distract myself. I'd distract myself with work or alcohol or social media or whatever it is. We've all got different ways that when pain or agitation shows up, we want, we choose or use these different vehicles in order to distract ourselves until the pain goes away. So I want to talk about that, the idea of sitting with your pain. And I'm curious to hear what your experiences of this and what advice, if the listeners are resonating with this, that we can give to them.
Yeah. I think you said something. We said a lot of things that are poignant. I know that I knew this story a while ago, so it's not the first time for me hearing it. I think the thing that resonates with me the most is what I call holding space. And so, one of the things that we look for in coaches and we look for in leaders within the powerful man movement is a man that has the ability to hold space. Now, what does that mean? Right? It's an obscure term. Holding space is being so secure with yourself, and I'll use your word from the last podcast, attuned with the environment around you, that you're able to create an energetic space that is safe for the people around you and that in your presence. And that container of space that you create allows people to go through whatever emotion they need to go through, like emotion, right? It's emotions are meant to be moved through. And that's what you did for your father, right? You created the space for him. It's so easy because, it's not only because people are uncomfortable with it, but it's also customary to be like, oh, it's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. But what happens is when I talk about my problems on the podcast, nobody hears Doug's problems. They hear their own.
Mm,
And I think that's another reason we're so conditioned to say it's going to be all right, because really subconsciously we're telling ourselves that it's
mm,
going to be all right. And then we're distracting ourselves from that other person's pain because it forces us to look at our own. And what you did is something that you do in the alpha resets. You have an alpha reset next week that you'll be leading in the UK. I'll be leading an alpha reset here in Bend, Oregon. And one of the things that you and I spend a lot of our time, like the majority of the day, not only coaching, but we're energetically holding space for all the men in attendance. And we get men that always want to volunteer to be their graduates. And guys, if you're listening to this and you've been through one of our programs and you have not been as a attendee to an alpha reset as a volunteer, it's one of the greatest things you'll ever do. Hands down is the best thing. It sounds weird. Volunteering to be at an event, you learn to hold space. That's one of the things we teach you as coaches. But what you did for your father right there is you held space. And most men don't know how to do that. And they don't know how to do that, Tim, because they haven't held space for themselves. They've
mhm,
been stuck in DEAR mode. Now, DEAR is an acronym for defend, excuse, explain, react. So that fast because we talk about it a lot. And they are so absorbed in themselves and what's going on, what other people are thinking about them, etc. They can't hold the space for another man or another person, whatever that may be. And for some of you guys, this is why you're having problems in your marriage, because you can't hold space for your
mhm,
wife and you can't be the leader. And Tim, I think it's, we always talk about the powerful man. There's no coincidences, right? It's something we say often. At least I say it all the time. And I've been around long enough to realize there's no coincidences. And for you to be there for your father, I mean, you've shared on the podcast, you guys have had a strained relationship in the past that you've repaired. And for your mother to call you, and say, hey, who's the leader I need right now to help this man? And it was you. And you can hold space because you aren't afraid to face your own demons. Doesn't mean it doesn't scare you, right? We always talk about this too. What's the definition of courage? Courage is being scared and doing it anyway. Like a fireman's courageous for running into a burning house to save a child. It doesn't mean he's not scared. Of course he's scared, but that's courage. And holding space requires courage and strength. And it requires a rootedness and a groundedness, which you can train yourself to do. I've said this before, to start the activation method, one of the things we have the guys do is the stickman exercise. And that's a way to uncover some of these hidden issues that could be there that could unroot you, right? The shallowness and get you there. And that's just step one, right? It's just one step to this journey. And I think really the ability of people being scared of their own demons and, sedation, right? Sedating themselves with porn, with liquor, with drugs, with gambling, with work. A lot of
Mhm.
our guys sedate themselves with work. They're good at it. They get their accolades at work. People respect them. They're the leader. They're the boss. And so they use that to sedate themselves so they don't have to look inward. That's the longest journey any man has to take, is the inward journey, right? Inside of himself. And your ability to do that has allowed you to create space, to hold space, not only for thousands of men around the world, but also for your own father. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I think what came to my mind then as you were talking about the way that the guys sedate is the five agonies, right?
Yeah.
Because they sedate through work, which means therefore they retreat into work because, like you said, accolades. And that's what leads to the first agony of greed. And it's not that they are greedy, it's just that no matter what they achieve, it never feels like enough. It's like an emptiness, a void, a chasm that's gaping, and they think they can fill it through things outside of themselves: money, cars, homes, watches, whatever, compliments. They build up this image of themselves. And when they have all those things and they still don't feel any better, in fact, they feel worse, that's when it leads to the second agony of anger. Because then they start to lash out, they get annoyed, they get frustrated. Why can't I solve this problem? I have everything I thought was going to be the answer, then but why do I feel even more lost? And then it's a sharp word to the wife, snapping at the kids, which leads to the third agony of shame. They then feel ashamed. I said I wasn't going to do that. I said I'd be better. I said it was going to be different this time. And they just can't handle it. So they often drink more or work more. The cycle continues and it leads to the fourth agony of loneliness. They start to retreat. They pull away from the family. Maybe it's just easier if I'm not around. They start to pull away from friends because of the shame that they're struggling to deal with around how great everyone keeps telling them that they are, yet they feel very differently about themselves. They understand the reality of their situation, of what's really going on behind closed doors, which leads to the fifth agony of uncertainty, right? How long will this last? This cannot continue this way. The business cannot continue to operate in this way. My marriage cannot continue to operate in this way. I cannot continue to operate in this way. Which domino will fall first? And the good news is, if you're in no man's land, there is a way out. It's why we designed the activation method, because a lot of the agonies are the root of a lot of the reasons for the issues in the marriage. Sure, we give people the hidden motives technique as a way to empathize and validate. It's a tactical way to hold space. Part of the way I held space for my dad was by knowing what to say. That's the hidden motives technique. We give the guys the clean slate method. That's a method for them to be able to wipe the slate clean, a way to take ownership and responsibility for their shortcomings in the relationship and create trust, rebuild trust with their wives. It creates an opening. It also delivers a king system, which addresses all of the five agonies and everything that goes with it, which has been designed by myself and you, Doug, was going through that process ourselves. Yes, I have faced and continue to face my own demons, and yeah, they scare the shit out of me. And I also know it's emotion. It gets to be expressed, it gets to shift. Otherwise, it stagnates and then can easily descend into the agonies. So, the Levels of King system and the methodologies within that, Alpha Rise and Shine, Alpha Decompression, some of the tools we give the men, some of the exercises we'll lead them through, especially the Alpha Reset. Just get to the root of this and address it so that you are grounded and you can be centered, so you can hold space without making it about yourself, without trying to reassure yourself and look at your problems instead. You're able to sit in other people's discomfort because you can sit in your own.
I love it. I left a moment of silence there on purpose so the guys could absorb what you had to say. This is true, guys. This is one of those podcast episodes that I'm going to really recommend you go back and listen to again. The reason being is a lot of times our defense mechanisms can put up and distract us. My guess is you can't repeat all the 5 agonies that Tim mentioned. One of them resonated with you really well, and then you let it go. And that's an ego effect. That's an ego effect. It's nothing to do with you. It's human nature, human design. So, Tim, I credit you for, and I thank you on behalf of not only all the men that have gone through the program that you've held space for, not only for your father, but also for the men that are coming to the UK, to the Lakes District, right? Is that where your guys are going to be? To do this next Alpha Reset, where you'll be holding space and changing the lives of this group of men, not only for themselves and the men that are there, but these men are going to go back and be beacons, going to be lighthouses for their wives, their partners, their kids, their communities, and their businesses. So thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And gentlemen, if this is resonating with you, again, I'm going to tell you to go back and listen to this again, right? Where in the 5 agonies are you finding yourself? Where are you finding yourself in these 5 agonies? Look, every Wednesday, I'm going to be running a free training. Every Wednesday, I'll be going live. And then once a month, it'll be a complete free training going live into our Facebook group. We'll actually do it via Zoom. So if you're on the newsletter, you'll know. But mark your calendar now. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, 6 p.m. UK on Wednesday. Do your own math and figure out what time zone that works for you. And also, if you're ready to take the step and get off the fence and find out more information about what the activation method is, what it's really about, what this methodology can take you through and take you out of the 5 agonies, go over to thepowerfulman.com, simply hit the Start Now button, and it's just going to ask you some basic information, allow you to schedule time to get on with the advisor, right? The advisor is just going to talk with you and see if it resonates with your situation, answer questions you have. Simple as that. But whatever you do, guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. And we'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show.